Hello everybody, this is Mr. Rob and welcome back to another episode of the Athletics franchise here on MLB The Show 24. Yes, we are going to be continuing our Athletics franchise on the old game. I know MLB The Show 25 is coming out right around the corner, and a lot of you probably wanted me to do an MLB The Show 25 series, but at the end of the day, I just felt like I had unfinished business in this series. The Athletics didn't come close to what we expected them to do, and I feel like we were really starting to build a good ecosystem in this game. We're starting to get some good progress, and I mean, obviously we're still bad, but we're starting to see some moves be made and build just a good baseball community in a baseball universe here, and I just hated to see it go. On top of that, if you did not see in the community tab, I did suffer a little bit of a problem in my apartment. I accidentally caught something on fire, so that was not fun as well, and that's going to cost money to fix, so that also doesn't help the current situation. But at the end of the day, I just wanted to continue the Athletics franchise because I just felt like with MLB The Show 25 coming out, I didn't really feel like the improvements were doing enough for me to abandon this series. Now, will this hurt me in the long run in terms of my growth on the channel? I mean, it could. I mean, usually when a new game comes out, I'm usually pretty fast to upload an episode, and that usually pops off and gets me a nice surplus of views and subscribers. But if that means I have to sacrifice that to continue this series, then so be it. And I'm hoping you guys stick around for the journey as well. Don't fall off. I knew the new shiny toy is right around the corner, but don't forget about Old Faithful over here. So we are going to be going into another off season of the Athletics franchise. Year 4 is right around the corner. If you're excited for that, make sure you drop that like and you subscribe down below, especially if you want more franchise mode content here on MLB The Show 24. As we get ready for our final season in Sacramento before we move to Las Vegas. So this is kind of an exciting time. Obviously, we have not been very good in this series, coming off a 63-99 season. And I will say, going into another offseason, our last at our old home, don't expect the Athletics to really make any big moves. It seems like this team is holding all of their cash for when they do move to Las Vegas, they can be big spenders in the next offseason. So we're setting ourselves nicely up for the future and just hoping that we can maybe get a couple of little pieces to help get us to that point. Here's a look at what the roster looks like currently. It's not very good, but like I said earlier, we are building toward this future. We have a good couple of pieces. Tyler Soderstrom's really become a star of this team. Zach Gelof's been good. Micah Bell's started to become a solid pitcher. And we got a couple of good role models down the line, or good role pieces. And a couple of young guys who I'm still waiting to take that next step. Jacob Wilson, Robbie Martin starting to come along. But we need to see some more players step up. And especially with us going to Vegas next year, this is really your chance to show. Are you with this team, or should we leave you in Sacramento? But the first part of the offseason, we'll take a look at the retired players. We only have one. It's Carlos Perez, a catcher, because of his ability. I wasn't really going to bring him back anyway, so at least he gets to end terms on his own as he retires from baseball. You can see a look at all the retirements from people currently in Major League teams. Paul Sewald, David Peralta, Kyle Higashioka has retired as well. A couple of more down the line. A lot of these guys just based off of ability. Jose Quintana has retired. Jason Hayward calls it a career. Steven Strasburg as well. There's a couple of big names. Yan Gomes has retired from the Brewers. And one of the guys not on the team, Jose Abreu, the former MVP, has retired. Other free agents who retired, Aroldis Chapman's called it a career. We see Josh Donaldson also retire. Clayton Kershaw's the big one. He has retired from baseball. Evan Longoria as well. And then finally, taking a look at J.D. Martinez. Only one Hall of Fame introduction. It's Clayton Kershaw. He goes in as a Dodger. He played all but one of his seasons with them. Finished up in Toronto, but rightfully so, he gets the induction. As far as our free agents, we only have 3 this year. Ryan Thompson, J.P. Feyereisen, and Eddie Rosario. I do have interest in bringing back Rosario. We signed him to a 1-year deal to kind of prove he's still a starter, and I thought he did pretty good. Hit 240, 23 homers, 74 RBIs. One of our better bats this season. So I am going to offer him a 1-year, $4 million contract before the offseason starts. As far as Ryan Thompson, I like him a lot as a reliever, and I still have some interest in bringing him back. But I will let him test the market, so we're not going to sign him to a contract now. And then J.P. Feyereisen, another guy we got in a deadline trade from Arizona. I'm content with just letting him walk. He was not very good for us once we acquired him, so he will be done as an Athletic. We get into free agency, and this is a pretty stacked class. You can see led by Tariq Skubal, Jazz Chisholm, Nico Horner, Jose Alvarado, Ha-Seong Kim, and Randy Arozarena. That's a lot of 90-plus overall guys, a lot of good players at the top of this free agency class to take a look for. I had one guy on my radar. The top guy I'm going to go after is a reliever. Dustin May, who I think could be a good piece. Our bullpen has not been very good. He got traded to Milwaukee last year in the Christian Yelich deal, and he played really good with the Brewers. So I've been wanting to bring him in, so we're going to offer him a 1-year, $3.5 million contract. It's more than what the Brewers are offering, and we'll see if May takes it. I'm also going to give Ryan Thompson a 4-year contract, or 1-year, $4 million contract. And then another thing I noticed is left field is very deep in this free agency, so I'm actually going to withdraw the offer on Eddie right now. I still have interest in bringing him back if we can't sign one of the other guys, but Rosario no longer getting the contract offer. So right now we're only offering 2 contracts, both to relievers, Dustin May and Ryan Thompson. And early the dominoes fall. On day 1, Freddie Peralta signs a 5-year, $89 million contract to go to the New York Mets, not wasting any time with the big moves. And then right after him, Jose Alvarado, the closer, goes to Chicago, signs a 5-year, $68.5 million contract with the Cubs. And the other big move on day 1, Tariq Skubal, the top guy arguably in this free agency cycle, goes to the Diamondbacks on a 6-year, $121.8 million contract. So the Cardinals traded a lot for him just for half a season. Right, also get Ryan Thompson on day 1, so he does sign his contract, so he's back with the Athletics. And Dustin May, unfortunately, will not be. He takes a 1-year, $3.2 million contract to go to the Cardinals, so he takes less money and heads to St. Louis. That is a tough miss, because that was the guy I really wanted this free agency cycle. Cardinals are not done. They also signed Nico Horner from their rivals in the Cubs to a 5-year, $108 million contract to play second base for them. Brian Abreu signs a 5-year, $38.5 million contract to go to the Padres to be one of their now premier closers and relief pitchers. Take a look at the left fielders. One guy who's not getting any offers is Eloy Jimenez. Now, this is a stacked outfield class. I think Jimenez is getting overlooked. He played really good in Chicago last year, so we're going to try to jump on this train. 2 years, $11 million to be a star player for this team. I think that's a pretty interesting offer. I think that's one the A's can afford right now, so we'll see if he takes it. Also, starting pitcher Michael Kopech, a guy who I think could add a lot to this rotation. He's coming off a bad year with the White Sox, but he could be due for redemption. So we're going to sign him to a 1-year, $5.8 million contract to hopefully bounce back and sign a prove-it deal with us, and hopefully he accepts. Randy Arozarena goes to the Reds, 4 years, $57.2 million contract. The Reds were the big winners last year of free agency. Not very good this year. They get more help in the outfield. Jonah Heim leads our division. He's going to go to the Red Sox on a 4-year, $59.2 million contract. And then staying in the AL East, Luis Garcia leaves our division and heads to the Yankees on a 5-year, $75.5 million contract. A huge trade, though, takes place in the division. Pete Alonso is a part of the AL West. He's heading to the Los Angeles Angels for Victor Mederos and Gabriel Rincones Jr. So Big Meat Pete is a guy we're going to have to play against in this division. That's not a good thing. Evan Phillips goes from the Marlins to the Phillies on a 3-year, $23 million contract as the Phillies continue to improve on their best pitching staff in baseball. And then Jazz Chisholm to the Yankees. How coincidental. How convenient. We see that. 5 years, $140 million. The Yankees are really aggressive in free agency this year, and they're not done. They get Nathaniel Lowe from the Rangers. 5 years, $50.5 million. The Pinstripes are spending this offseason, and a lot of our division rivals have gotten worse. Patrick Sandoval goes to the Guardians on a 3-year, $33.9 million contract. There's a lot of big names, like I said, this offseason. The Diamondbacks not done adding to the rotation. They get Drew Rasmussen on a 5-year, $46.5 million deal. Taking a look currently, another guy who's not getting any offers is Paul Goldschmidt. I know we have Ryan Noda on the team, but I think Goldschmidt could be a good platoon for him, considering Noda struggles against left-handed pitching, and Goldschmidt's only good against left-handed pitching. So we're going to offer him a 1-year, $5.8 million contract. He had a good year in Pittsburgh last season. Big moves around the league as well in trades. Zach Wheeler stays in the division. He goes from the Pirates to the Brewers for Dave Muller and Brady Blaylock. So an interdivision trade. Interesting. Michael Kopech is unfortunately no longer offering an interest into the Athletics deal, so we miss out on him. And then Tigers signed Trevor Rogers to a 4-year, $46.4 million contract. Tigers might be the most interesting team in baseball this year. They had made a lot of moves at last year's deadline. The Rangers find their Nathaniel Lowe replacement. They signed Yandy Diaz to a 1-year, $6.7 million contract as the Rays continue to lose on a lot of big names. They got a lot of money tied up in their stadium situations, so that could be a story to watch. As we've reached the draft lottery now, as we have the 6th projected pick. But one thing that's happened in the first 2 draft lotteries is we've gone down by 3 spots in both of those. And this one was no different. We fall from 6 to 9. The draft lottery continues to not be very kind to us, while the biggest winners is the Guardians. They move from 15 all the way up to 2. The Rockies, who only won 46 games last year, do get the number 1 pick, so that helps them out. And the Mariners also move up for the 2nd year in a row. Yankees continue to add to their team this year. Dalton Varsho, 5 years, $43.5 million, stealing him away from the Toronto Blue Jays. Now it's time for the Rule 5 draft, a chance to maybe add somebody to our 40-man rosters. We did leave a spot open for this occasion as we go to the draft. Before we even get to our pick, we lose out on a guy. CJ Rodriguez, one of our prospects, is heading to Detroit as he gets scooped up by the Tigers. As far as our selections, I didn't really like anybody in the draft this year, so we're not going to select anybody in the Rule 5 draft in this year. It has been kind to us in the past with Joe Barlow, but just nobody really caught my eye, and nobody else really made any headlines in the Rule 5 draft. Paul Goldschmidt goes back to St. Louis, so he's not coming to the Athletics, so he reunites with the Cardinals after a 1-year split. And Byron Buxton gets traded from the Twins to the Royals. This was a huge surprise for me. The Twins just made it to the the World Series and lost. They give away Byron Buxton for Kyle Isbell and Domingo Rosario. The Braves, the defending champs, signed the leader in saves in the National League from last year, Jojo Romero, to a 4-year, $35.6 million deal. And then Tristan McKenzie goes to the Nationals, 4 years, $59.2. The NL East has gotten a lot stronger this year. The Nationals were not done. They get McKenzie. They also get Alejandro Kirk, 5 years, $82.5, as the National League continues to just be the premier league in baseball. More big deals going down. Cody Bellinger, 4 years, $52 to the Cardinals. So I think St. Louis did a pretty good job at getting back into the NL Central race this offseason. We go back to the pitching. We missed out on Kopech, and the top starting pitcher right now is Chris Sale, who's a multi-time All-Star, coming off a bad year with the Braves. This might be a reach, but we're going to try to offer him a 1-year, $4 million contract just to try to get some pitching help this offseason. So we'll see if that works. Eloy Jimenez also waits out on a bigger deal, and he gets it from the Braves, so we will not be getting Jimenez after all. And Sale does extend his contract. I know he wasn't good as a starting pitcher, and he might not be the same Chris Sale that he used to be, but I think at the least he could be a good long reliever. Considering we missed out on Eloy Jimenez, we're going to offer Eddie Rosario a 1-year, $3.5 million contract, and he would accept that. So we go back to Eddie, and he will be spending another season with the Athletics. I just don't think Elliot Ramos is ready for a big-time spot. The Padres acquire Alexis Diaz from the Reds. Michael King goes back to Cincinnati. That's also a pretty big guy. And then Jesus Sanchez as well. We're going to make a trade of our own. We're going to send Daryl Hernandez and Angel Felipe to the Dodgers for Sammy Ciani. Hernandez has just not worked out for us, and we got a logjam at shortstop, so I think it's time for a fresh start from him. He'll head to LA, and we'll get Sammy Ciani, who can just add some more outfield depth for us. And another guy who is not going to get traded, but just to watch out for, is Esteury Ruiz. You're probably wondering why. He was really good for us last year, but he's 28. You can see his potential is going down. He's got a couple of years of team control, so I think Ruiz has some value. Not going to trade him yet, but just maybe something to keep an eye out for going into year number 4. And that's going to do it for the offseason. Like I said, it wasn't a big offseason for the Athletics. We tried to go after a couple of guys, but we're still kind of hindered with our situation. Playing in a minor league stadium, we don't have a lot of money to offer right now. And with the Vegas move on the horizon, I didn't really want to spend a lot of money this offseason. Save it for next year and make a big splash in our new home. So this is the Athletics 40-man roster going into next season. A lot of the same faces that you saw last year. The only guy we really added was Chris Sale and we dropped JP Fireison, and then made the trade for Sammy Siani. But these are the guys who will be going to spring training, which we'll see in the next episode. We will get through spring training. I'll preview the year number 4, and we will get ready to go to another year for the Athletics. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure you drop a like and subscribe down below. This is Mr. Rob, and I'll see you in the next one.